Delicious. Hey, brother.
Hey, Al.
And welcome everyone back to another episode of Siblings in Crime. I'm Allie Rossell.
And I'm Blake Murphy.
And just as it sounds, we're siblings who love true crime.
Yes, love it.
Love it. Thank you, everyone who has been so supportive. We appreciate everyone that's new here. And as always, if you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, repost, comment. Nice things. The more the merrier. And we love it. More. No one caught our little Easter egg last time. I thought it was funny, but it wasn't.
Which one?
Just that we switched seats.
Oh.
So stupid. I was like, maybe people will notice. I don't know who's watching, but no one said anything. So we're back in our normal seats.
Or are we?
Or are we? Dun, dun, dun. What is normal? I don't know. All right. Well, before I go into a recap, because this is part 2. So if you haven't watched into part 1 yet, go back, listen. It is a little bit of a hard listen because we're going into quite the killing spree. But you're going to want to know all the details before we go into this week's case and how that unfolds. So before we go into part 2, brother, anything?
I just received some mats, rubber mats for the garage because I'm making a little garage gym. I'm going to have treadmill, rower, bike, ski erg, little stretching area. On the side of the house, have a grass part for lunges, for burpees, for sleds, wall balls. And around our little neighborhood thing is 0.5 miles. So we got it all mapped out.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Oh, around our neighborhood? You don't go around the park?
No. Just around like us where
Just our
Del
block.
Brummett lives.
Yep. So specific.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's 0.5?
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, so if you need to start going to the gym, Jim Day Murphy.
What?
Casa Day Murphy, Jim Day Murphy. It's a day.
House?
Yeah. No, I'm saying like so they can come work out here.
I know, but why Jim Day Murphy?
Of Murphy. I was trying to do Spanish. You know, Casa Day.
That's house.
I know. But of Day, isn't that Day Murphy?
Oh.
So Jim of Murphy.
All right.
I don't know Spanish. I just thought I would give it a shot. But geez Louise, making me feel stupid right off the bat.
I didn't know what you were trying to do.
I was trying to say we got the Murphy gym going. Or Blake does at least. So that is very exciting. Well,
Yep.
sweet. That'll be... This is like the worst time. It's like so hot. You
Yeah.
just work and like getting it all set up is like such a sweaty thing.
Mm-hmm. And our electrolytes just came in for our electrolyte brand.
Which you haven't even dropped that information before.
That's all they're going to hear for now.
Stay tuned for more information with what Blake is saying.
Yeah.
That is exciting. Yeah, good things going on. I'm like 31 weeks pregnant. So I'm getting close. Oh my gosh, Blake calls me today. He goes, I feel like there's so many things before my birthday. Like this company, this half marathon High Rocks. I'm like, the birth of your nephew, by the way. Like,
Oh,
jerk.
yeah. That too.
Yeah, that's like the biggest one, jerk. Your first nephew. Okay, so fun. Well, I'm going to get into this week's case, all right? So focus up. All right, so to recap. 16 months, that's how long it took from a quiet apartment in Glassell Park to a bedroom in Mission Viejo for California to go from not knowing anything was wrong to knowing exactly what to call it. A serial killer on a killing spree. Along the way, there were more than a dozen homes, most of them chosen for no reason whatsoever. But some homes were left victims and some were survivors, actually. With all survivors repeating the same thing, right? We talked about tall,
Stanky.
yeah, bad teeth, stanky. I'm like, that is so specific. So by the end of August 1985, investigators finally had 2 things that they didn't have before. They now had a description of a car, which you remember at the very end of last episode, we talked about how a survivor was able to peek out the window and see a car. And then also thanks to the survivor, we now had a nickname, and it was
Stinky.
the Night Stalker.
Oh.
The Stinky Night Stalker.
The Stinky Night Stalker.
I like that name better.
Stinky Pinky.
Ew, that sounds gross.
Yeah, I mean,
The stinky Night Stalker. Well, what they didn't have yet, though, was his actual name. And so that's where we left off, and that's where we're going to start again today. Last week was, like I said, a brutal listen of attack after attack after attack. Well, now we're diving into the investigation, the verdict, and everything in between. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's roll. That's so funny. All right, if, like you remember from last week, investigators had pieces of a puzzle that they weren't quite fitting together into one person yet. One thing, remember one of like their big
hooplas
evidence was? Mm-hmm. You remember?
Yeah.
What was it?
Oh, you can't just tell the listeners.
Okay, well, they're going to know. It's a footprint.
Yeah, I know.
Look at you remembering everything.
Yeah.
All right, well, we have, I said footprint, but a shoe print. It's not barefoot.
Yeah.
So,
I know what you meant.
Right. So let me give you a timeline of this so that we know what's going on here. Because in March 27th, 1985, this is when the print first appeared. If you remember, it was outside a flower bed or outside a house in the flower bed. Over the following months, that same print, or a matching print, you could say, turns up at several more different scenes. So we have at the Zazera house. That's where the flower bed was. The Bell and Lang sisters scene. We also have it at, or remember on Joyce Nelson's face, which is so sickening. So there's multiple places where this print is being left behind. Now, could this be the same shoe at a different locations? Most likely not, as we'll go into this evidence. But it is important to note that it's just the same print, same size. So they're tying this all together. And that's actually what originally got these cases stringing along, putting them together. This shoe ended up being a brand called Avia. Have you heard of it? Mm. Avia. I actually have it pulled up right here for you to see. Just regular old running shoes.
Let me see what it is.
What? These are like your basic looking tennis shoes, like dad style, that kind of thing. That's what you need in a picture. Oh, wow. I thought they were going to be like super niche looking, like super specific. Well, weirdly enough, at the time, back in where our story began in the 80s, this shoe was like not really on the market at the time in the United States. Once detectives got... Well, no, this is what I was going to say. So once detectives got serious about like tracing where this shoe came from, they actually traced it back to a manufacturer. And it was almost unbelievable how narrow of a scope this was. So sometime during that stretch, though no sources give like an exact date of when they figured this out, detectives worked with this Avia company directly through the company's founder to pin down the specific model and trade its like U.S. distribution. So get this. A little over 1,300 pairs of that specific style had been shipped into the country. 1,300 pairs. Of those, only 6 came in black, size 11.5, which black because we have witness testimonies. Only 6 of them were that right size. 5 of those 6 went to Arizona. Only 1 pair sold in the city of Los Angeles.
Whoa, so Arizona's sick.
Arizona's sick, but we have 1 pair in Los Angeles where these crimes are taking place.
Yeah.
That is crazy narrow. Yeah. What do you mean only 1 was sold? Like, how do you even do that? Yeah. I mean, that is crazy.
Also, in Los Angeles compared, like, you think 6 in Los Angeles, 1 in Arizona.
Right. Yeah, like, LA is like a huge place, you know, and like you would think that they would have like, I don't know.
He's kind of unique.
He's kind of unique. He's got a key eye for some Walmart Avias.
Yeah.
But that's what's just so shocking is how they're able to narrow this down so much. And now they're like, we got to find the guy with the shoes. I feel like no cases ever is there like 1 person that is going to have this.
Yeah, normally it's like, oh, there's 386 in this area.
Right.
That narrows it down.
I know, seriously. And that's like still a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
So 1 is crazy. So August 23rd, 1985, this is like when it all becomes public it wasn't like deliberately released. Actually, like investigators were pissed because the media was like blabbing about this stuff, and they were trying to keep the shoe print close to the chest, as well as what we're going to go into close to the chest, along with the gun caliber and other details released in a press conference. So they're pretty disappointed because, like, okay, there's one person with this shoe. Now he's going to ditch that.
Yeah. Wait, did he?
We're going to go into it. Actually, I don't know if I actually touch on it later. So I'm going to say it before I forget. He tries. I'm going to pick it back up before. I've done that before where I'm like, I'm going to get back to it, and then I totally forget. So he tries to get rid of him.
But we catch him.
But we catch this bad guy. Well, although we don't know, like I said, when the investigators made this connection, the public finds out about 5 months later. And the public is like all geared up. Like everyone's so involved in this case, rightfully so. Everyone wants to find the bad guy. But now the community's like scanning the shoes. Like people are like turning against each other. Like great in some ways, dangerous in other ways.
Visiting from Arizona, he has his shoes on. Everyone's like, it's him.
I know. Okay, he's like, wait.
I'm from Arizona.
Wait, that's a good point. He's like, gets tackled. Help. That's actually a crazy thought. So this part of the investigation is a bit hazy as far as like the timeline and such. But investigators, this is what's crazy to me. Investigators never had like one single piece of evidence that was tied to every single crime. So the fact that they were able to kind of decide on which crimes were related to the Night Stalker is very specific. So, okay, I'm going to start using my fingers because I see they're making fun of me. I do talk with my hands. Specifically when it came to the weapons. As you remember last time, he used different... he did things different ways at different crime scenes. Yeah. Did not always use the same MO. Mm-hmm. But ballistics testing suggested at least 2 different guns were in play. A .22 caliber revolver linked to the Hernandez, Ozaki, and the U attacks in March, as well as the Zazera murders that same month and the Nighting murders. And then we also have a separate weapon, the .25 caliber automatic, and that's linked to the Petersons, Abawath, Peter Pan, and the attack on Bill Carnes. So
he just kind of grabs whichever gun he wants.
Yeah, it seems like there's like 2 separate groups of people. Mm-hmm. One that were attacked with a .22, one that was with a .25. And I'm very impressed they were to pin these things together, but because those 2 ballistic threads never crossed, meaning the gun evidence alone couldn't connect the full spree into one case, and that's going to actually be a problem down the line. But what actually did that work, that work. I don't know why I wrote it wrong. That sounds weird.
What actually did work?
What actually did that work was the reoccurring. One thing that did stick up in every case majority is the shoe print. That's what they're kind of relying on. Yeah. That same waffle sole tread turning up at the crime scenes on both sides of the ballistic line. So in the 25s and the 22s. So that shoe print is really what they're like relying on. Which I feel like is a lot to put a case on. Like if you find this guy.
Yeah, but if there's only one person with the shoe in the whole state, it's like.
Yeah.
That's sketchy.
And you got to rule out everyone else that has the shoes that could be in town, I guess, now that you said that. Yeah. But yeah, exactly what you're saying.
Visiting,
right.
In another state.
True. So investigators built the pattern out of several overlapping threads rather than one continuous chain. But what they also had was as he moved along in his murders, he started doing that inverted pentagram signature at later scenes. So then we have those connections as well. So the detectives really did a great job considering they had different weapons at play. They did a great job of connecting the different crime scenes to this same man. Because I don't think a lot of people would put all the pieces together, and they really are doing a great job with like good old-fashioned detective work. Because at the time, you remember, we don't really have great DNA. Yeah. Which is such a bummer.
Put up the sign, or put up the...
Yes. As you can see in a sign that I'm going to put up.
And what year again?
We're in 85.
In 85.
Or 84 or something like that.
Yep, not that good.
Yeah, so not good. Yeah, we don't have a lot of options here. And then it makes it more difficult because later in court, multiple firearms experts gave conflicting testimony on the caliber and even the weapon type for some of the same bullets. And the actual murder weapons were never actually recovered in several of the killings, so making some of the testimony difficult to independently verify. So although they think they know the type of weapons, it really isn't a smoking gun, as you could say. So that's going to suck later on for the detectives. But with their detective work, we know that there's two groups of people that were most likely attacked by the same person because of the shoe print mainly. And the inverted pentagon as time went on. And I'm
just kidding.
Oh, I was like, you know something I don't? Well, when they had, or what they had to really lean into also the witness testimonies, which is difficult. At that time, it's more common, less common these days. As we know, eyewitness testimonies are the least reliable. So that is very difficult to be running with this, especially when it's time for trial. Descriptions had barely changed, though. Like, since the very first person all the way through, everyone's giving the same details. Like we said, tall, bad teeth, smell. And it depends on the source. Some are like, his breath is putrid. And some are like, he himself just has like a weird smell. Mm-hmm. So overall, there's a scent going on. Yeah. Just lingering around. And now they also had the new detail, which is the car, which we left with the car. So 3 days before he the Night Stalker broke into Bill Carnes and Inez Erickson's home. This was the last victims we talked about. A bright orange 1976 Toyota Corolla station wagon had been stolen out of Watts, California. That same car is what a 13-year-old named James Ramirez saw idling outside of his house that night, close enough to the Carnes and Erickson's home that investigators would later connect the two pieces. So Ramirez had heard this is his report. This 13-year-old kid, so brave. He said he had heard footsteps on the gravel outside his garage. He'd gone to wake up his parents, and he came back to lock eyes with a tall man in black walking towards the orange car. I would simply cry, probably. Mm-hmm. I'm like, how would I actually respond? Probably cry.
Yeah, I'd be out of there.
I know. What a brave kid. And so when police came knocking, seeing if we're seeing anything weird, brave kid didn't run. He actually was over there like memorizing what he could. Color, shape, and he even got a partial plate number. Ooh. Yeah, so this guy's nice. A baller. 13 and paying that much attention.
True crime junkie.
That's what I'm talking about.
Maybe.
He gave this all over the place, and like he had no idea how significant it was. That's why it's so important to report just anything you see.
Yeah. See something, say something.
Exactly. I think, was he a true crime person or not? I don't know. But, I mean, at this point, they know what's going on in their city. Yeah. So you have the media being like...
Everyone's got to be on it.
Right. You have media being like, keep an eye out. And, like, police are making notes to be like, keep an eye out in your neighborhood. See if anything is suspicious. So, I'm guessing that's probably why it stood out so much to this kid. But because of him, this was like a huge break. It took investigators time to find the car itself, but they found it. Didn't take forever. Eventually, they came across it. It was abandoned in a strip mall parking lot and had been attempted to be wiped down clean. Anything that's wiped down, I'm like, guilty. Mm-hmm. Don't even know what you're talking about. Guilty. No one wipes down nothing. Mm-hmm. So I was like...
Unless you're a clean freak.
Unless you're a clean freak. However, they didn't do a perfect job because they were actually using fairly new forensic technique involving superglue fumes. Technicians were actually able to lift a single hidden fingerprint off the vehicle. I don't know how they even find those things. Obviously, they got some newer technology in this 85, so which is great. Able to pull a print. And here's where luck finally starts shifting towards the investigators. Because, interesting story, for the first time on the side of the people who are trying to catch a bad guy, they're able to now have just recently installed a computerized fingerprint system. One of the first of its kind, capable of comparing a single print against tens of thousands of others used, or instead of having to go hand by hand, like people searching. So this is like brand new technology. Like, okay, we have a fingerprint. We can actually run it through the computer.
Yeah. Some might say state of the art.
Some might say state of the art. Yeah. So this is like a huge deal. There is one limitation at this time, though.
And some may call that a roadblock.
It could be a roadblock. That's limitation.
Some may say that's just an opportunity to innovate.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Yes.
Write that down. The major limitation. This computer only held records for people born after January 1st, 1960. So if you were born before this date, you weren't in the system.
So we're hoping this guy's young.
He has to be, we're in 85, he has to be younger than 25 years old in order.
So
What?
25.
I did not go that slow.
I like 20.
Oh my gosh. Womp womp. That was normal speed. 25 years old in order to be in the system. But they took their chance, of course, and just ran with the print. The system did return a match almost immediately to a man who was born February 29th, 1960.
Oof.
Yeah, within 2 months of that cutoff.
Yeah.
That's crazy close. The file showed the match was to a 25-year-old with a record for minor theft and drug charges with no history of violence whatsoever. And of course, the most important thing that popped up under the file
He's stinky.
was his name.
Oh.
They're like, and this guy stank. His name was Richard Ramirez.
Sounds like him.
Sounds like him. So Richard Ramirez, he is now, like, they're like, we have a name to his fingerprint. As long as the fingerprint is the bad guy, we're in business. If he has those shoes, even better. That's what we're looking for. Obviously, you can't really just like go arrest someone just because of their name popped up. But still, because of that, they had to just still do a lot of detective work.
They had to get a airtight case.
Right. And they were like, you know what? Let's get the public to help us find this guy. We got to pull him out of hiding. Public ate this up. Within hours, his photograph, like, it was like a mugshot from his old arrest, I'm pretty sure. That had been sent to like everyone in Southern California. It's on every local newscast. It's on the front page of everything. Like, immediately, they're pushing this picture. That'd be so scary. Imagine if that like wasn't you. You're like, dang, I just stole a car. And now my name's getting pushed.
Yeah. Or have you seen the pranks where like it pops up and it's like, police are looking for a woman suspected in like a robbery, and it shows the girl's picture, and she's like, "That's all. I didn't do nothing."
Oh yeah. That's true.
She like calls her husband, or boyfriend, or like, "Hey, you gotta get me out of here."
They're just like watching like the TV with their family or whatever, and they just put it on the screen. Yeah. And I just can't imagine like the fear if you see your name pop up, whether you did something or didn't do something.
Yeah.
So for a city that had spent 16 months like locking their windows, doing all that stuff, that photograph was like game time for these people.
Mm-hmm.
So Ramirez didn't know any of this yet, though. Richard Ramirez. He didn't know he was like leaving this traceable trail. He didn't know they were anywhere near like his scent. Stanky boy. On the morning of August 31st.
You know what it's like?
Huh?
It's like Argentina with down 2 points with
Hilarious.
with 10 minutes left in the game.
And then they just came back and won 3-2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Los Angeles got their game face on.
They are ready to rock and roll. So on the morning of August 31st, 1985, Ramirez was in East Los Angeles. Nowhere even near where like the neighborhoods that he had been terrorizing all summer. Mm-hmm. And that's when he stopped at a corner store. And there on a rack by the register, he sees his own face looking right back at him in the morning paper.
What did he do?
He freaked out. I would freak out. Anyone would freak out. He did not play it cool whatsoever. He wasn't like nonchalant, Mr. like, oh, I'm just going to slowly walk out of here. Yeah. No, he goes into like a panic. And it took less than an hour. He panicked. He tried to steal a car right away. Didn't work.
Don't draw attention to yourself.
I know. Goes and like breaks a window, tries to steal a car. It doesn't work. It was, as it turned out, close to like the worst possible place in the city he could have picked at this time, because this was a neighborhood that had spent the whole summer talking about the Night Stalker, the way like every neighborhood kind of in the region has been. But these guys were like, you have everyone like either half in fear or half like in fury,
Enraged.
yeah, just so angry. And more than one resident there had already said out loud that if he showed his face around there, he would not be walking away. So, that being said, a man named Manuel de la Torre, he saw a stranger trying to force his way into a car near his own wife, grabbed a steel rod, and started hitting Ramirez with it. So he sees Ramirez trying to steal a car. He's close to his family, and he's like, I'm going to town and just beat this guy. And others joined in. So now we have like mob mentality almost.
Let's go.
Where people are jumping this guy.
Get him, boys.
Exactly. By the time police arrived to pull him out of the crowd, he had been beaten so badly that he had actually had to go to the hospital before he ever saw an interrogation room. So he needed like medical attention from the neighborhood. Which, honestly, right on. Protect your streets.
Yeah.
He was taken to Hollenbeck Police
Protect
Station.
this house.
Right. The manhunt that had absorbed 2 cities for over a year was technically kind of officially over. Dang, I love when citizens show up. They're like, that's him, get him! Like, that is so awesome.
Yeah, but it's bad when they get the wrong person.
Right, that'd be real bad. True.
And that's happened.
It has.
Like the Salem witch trials.
Yeah, and then it's so sad because, yeah, obviously you have the wrong person, but then even if things get cleared out, like reputations can still get ruined, and like even if you're not hurting someone, if people think you did something bad, like that can still like be your downfall. Well, before any of what you just heard happened, before Los Angeles, any of it, there's a much smaller story in a smaller house more than 700 miles away that I'm going to tell you to help you understand the background a little bit. So we're heading to El Paso, Texas real quick. We're in May 4th, 1973. A man had just come home from Vietnam a few years earlier. He was a decorated veteran, but he was changed in ways that people like weren't acknowledging yet, with like the PTSD, the mental health, like things coming back from war. Totally makes sense. No one's paying attention to it in the 70s. He's the kind of person kids looked up to. Like, he kind of was like that hero status to most people. On this particular afternoon, an argument breaks out between him and his wife inside their home, and it escalates very quickly. The argument actually ends with a gunshot. The man shoots his wife in the face with a handgun, and she dies right there in front of him, as well in front of a man's 13-year-old cousin who was staying at the house. The man holding the gun, his name is Miguel Ramirez, or Mike as the family called him. He was the decorated veteran, and the woman he killed was his own wife, Jessie. The boy in the room was 13-year-old Richard Ramirez, who is our Night Stalker. The same boy who would grow up to be the man who would go on to kill at least 13 people and have many attacks on others. All committed between 1984 and 1985. So at just 13, he watched someone that he like idolized literally murder his spouse right in front of him.
Yeah.
That messes with your head, obviously.
In the formidable years, too.
Yeah, and so this is the first time he's witnessed death or anything that aggressive. So his cousin, the older cousin, Mike, he was later actually found not guilty of murder by reason of insanity and only spent about 4 years in a state mental hospital before being released in 1977. That seems like a wildly small verdict.
Yeah.
Short sentence for like literally shooting your wife in the face. That's horrible. So regardless, he didn't spend much time in jail. So that wasn't the like only violent thing that happened growing up. To understand Richard Ramirez, like we got to keep talking about him, obviously. Go back a little bit further. He was born February 29th, like I said. He was the youngest of 5 children, born to Mexican immigrant parents, Julian and Mercedes. By most accounts, he did grow up in an abusive household. Now, I don't always want to blame that on people being serial killers, because that does not have to equal serial killer. But his childhood carried lots of damage, like well before he ever saw this murder. Around at age 5, he was actually knocked unconscious in an accident severe enough that he actually began having seizures from it. So it seemed like it was like a form of epilepsy. And so he may have had some brain damage from this. It seems as though a lot of people who studied this case later thinks that it was the part of his brain that was tied to aggression and impulse control. So we have damage to very important parts of the brain. We have abuse in the house. He sees a murder happen when he's only 13 years old. Poor guy was really having a hard time from the start.
Yep.
Which is common, but doesn't mean he has to be a serial killer.
Yeah.
So around the age of 12, his cousin Miguel's when he came back from Vietnam, and that's when he went and stayed with him. And Miguel was like, it's like you want to think that people come home for more and are like some like great examples of like discipline and all this stuff. Well, he was showing Richard, just 13, horrible photos, like graphic photos, women that he was actively abusing in these photos. Very crazy. He was like prideful, talking about like the innocent people he could kill just because he wanted to. Very disturbing. Talked about women in a horrible way. Very violent.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, and then a year later is when he killed his wife.
Yeah.
So,
not a good guy.
Yeah, not a good guy. 4 years in a mental hospital is not enough. But, so Miguel's seeing all this horrible stuff about women and anyways, all leading up to a murder. So later that same year, Richard ended up moving in with his older sister Ruth because now his cousin is in jail in a mental institute. He moves in with Ruth and her husband Roberto. Now Roberto, also not a great guy.
Oh.
Unfortunately, we're just surrounded by people who really need a lot of help. Because what was supposed to be like a fresh start, stable place, Roberto was a peeping Tom. Okay, gross, freaky. And he was like, hey, 13-year-old Richard, come with me strolling around the neighborhood in the middle of the night. Let's go look at people through their windows.
Weird.
So weird. I'm like, this is your brother-in-law. Like, he's literally married to Richard's sister. Like, what a weird thing. But like, hey, little brother-in-law, you're super young, the little brother to my wife. Let's go peep at women at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
That is so gross. Obviously,
Just trying to bond.
Oh, yeah, that's one way to do it. It's not hard to draw lines looking back. Like, okay, he was creeping in through windows in the middle of the night. Like, what he was doing to these women. You can see his past really shaping up to what he ended up doing a few years later. So disturbing. He dropped out of school in 9th grade at 17 in 1977. The same year Miguel walked out of the state hospital, Richard was arrested now for the first time, but just marijuana possession. Not long after that, that's when he finally made his way to California. Because remember, he was in Texas for a while. And there is where he was arrested more than once for auto theft, developed a cocaine habit that would follow him forever, he was building like intense self-directed interest in Satanism at this time. Like, he was going way into the whole Satan stuff, which is creepy in his own.
Yeah.
And
I
then
thought you were saying at first, like, self-directed. Okay, you're going to say, like, some kind of, like, retirement fund or something.
He was doing great in investments at this time. No, like, it doesn't sound like he was part of a group. He just, like, had his own interest in, like, worshiping Satan. And obviously, we'd see that with the lipstick and the pentagrams later on. And it's weird how, like, looking back on his life, like, he took a piece of all these different experiences, and you can see them in his crime scenes. I feel like a lot of times, like, oh, he was abused, and he murdered people, you know? But, like, such specific things, the peeping Tom, the type of murder, like, with the weapons, and anyways, it all ties back very, very specifically. It's very disturbing.
It's like escalation and sexual sadism.
Yeah, and he like was really feeling like he was finding himself during this. It seems like he is like picking apart his childhood and putting it all into these scenes, which is really gross.
Yeah.
So Richard Ramirez, he was taken in, investigated. He was charged with 68 felony counts.
Wow.
Tons. He was tried, and in September of 1989, he was convicted on 43 of them.
Oh, wow.
A ton, including 13 counts of murder, 5 counts of attempted murder, 11 counts of rape, and 14 counts of burglary.
Death penalty.
Death penalty. He was sentenced to death 19 times over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, death, like all of the counts. And I'm all for that. He never expressed remorse. Like, I'll have a picture of him, like, up at trial.
Yeah,
and
he's messed up.
Yeah, and he had drawn a pentagon on his hand, showing it to the cameras. Like, obviously no remorse. Obviously he's not a changed person. Very disturbed individual. He, leaving the courtroom the day of his sentencing, he told reporters, "Hey, big deal. Death always comes with the territory. I'll see you at Disneyland." Don't know what the frick that's all about. But he obviously
he's in a La La Land.
La La Land, couldn't care what's going on around him. Like, nothing seems real to him, it feels like. He actually died in 2013, still on death row, though, from natural causes. So, like, none of those sentences took place, which is like, dang, he was convicted in 1989, and by 2013, like, he's still sitting on death row, which is very common in most cases that they're just sitting around anyways. Of the 14 murders he was ultimately tied to, 13 went to trial and became part of those 19 death sentences. One didn't, though. Mei Ling. Remember the 9-year-old found in San Francisco in the hotel basement? Mm-hmm. April 1984. This is kind of the outlier in the entire story. She's the only killing that was connected to him that never saw a courtroom, never became a charge, never anything like that. Reason being, it took 25 years and technology that at the time they just didn't have. Mm-hmm. But later down the road, 25 years after, they finally have DNA analysis come in, and that's how they pieced together that 9-year-old was connected to the Night Stalker.
I see. So it was like when they got more DNA.
Yeah. So his first murder.
DNA, whatever.
Analysis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his first murder that we know of was the number 14 murder. This was Mei Ling. Even though she was the very first victim, they just never connected her to anyone because it was so different from all the other crime scenes. So
maybe he's killed any other people and they just didn't connect it.
I know, or if they didn't like save DNA from that case, they weren't able to test it or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, it's hard to believe that he doesn't have more victims. However,
that is a lot in a year and a half.
That's what I was just about to say. However, it does seem like a spree, not like it's been like one every year. Like some serial killers like are more long term. This kind of felt more like really fast, tons.
It's like more than one in a month.
Yeah, multiple a month, which is crazy. His longest
a year and a half, right?
Yeah, it was like 16 months. His longest stretch of time was, I believe, 9 months, but it was from Mei Ling, who they didn't even know about her, so they didn't even know it was a 9 month gap. But anyway, so technically,
it seem like there would be more.
I think so too, especially
like they didn't know her, and then they found her, and then there was a 9 month gap. It's like
so you're telling me
between that is never get found or never whatever.
Right, because then we have 13 other people that was in like a 6 month time frame, So could there be other people potentially? From what I read, it doesn't seem like he voluntarily confessed more victims or anything of this type. But 16 months, 14 convicted murders, one name that an entire state learned to fear before they ever knew what his name was. And in the end, it wasn't a detective's hunch or lucky break in an interrogation that ended it. It was a 13-year-old's memory of a license plate, a fingerprint database 2 months away from him being completely not in the database, which is crazy, and then a neighborhood in East LA that went to town on this guy to find him.
And a shoe company.
And arguably the biggest thing, the shoe company. The one pair of shoes. And that is the case of the Night Stalker.
Dang. Kind of seems like he is accelerating too.
Which is so scary.
Murder, if it was really only one, then another murder a while later, then another, and then another.
Right. Ah! Yeah, because it was like, at that point, there was like 2 victims in one night, and then they would have like 3 days off, and then another victim. It was like 4 victims within a week span sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is rapidly fast.
Yeah.
One thing also just kind of note, it depends on what kind of media you're looking at. Some people speculate that Zara's case was not related to the Night Stalker, that shoe print that was in the flower bed. I guess this shoe print sizing only at this location was the only one that was like not very consistent with the other sizes. However, it is still the same print. So it depends on how you want to look at that. And we also know that the weapon was never recovered and valuables were left untouched in that house, which is very not like him considering he's basically robbed everybody. Yeah. So there's speculation that, do we know everyone who had been attacked, and are there some in there that weren't related to the Night Stalker? You're going to get that in any case, but we obviously know Richard Ramirez was a very bad guy. So whether there's more or less, kind of up for interpretation depending on who's reading what sources. But this is the best I know as far as what I was reading. But
sweet.
Anyways, give me a keyword before you get me into true crime news.
What's the shoe called again?
Avia. Avia shoes. Let me make sure. Yeah, Avia. AVIA. Dun dun. I'll have the shoes up as well. So if you're wearing Avias right now, you would have been a potential suspect back in the 80s.
If it's black.
Yeah, if it's a black shoe, 11.5 size. All right, you ready for it?
All right, welcome to another episode of True Crime News.
Woohoo.
All right. So let's start right on the top in Georgia. Mistrial in Toller murder case. Houston County, Georgia. Tonight, a judge has declared a mistrial in the case of Kiana Davis, the mother accused of killing her 2-year-old son back in 2020. Prosecutors say Carter Ambrose died from a blunt force injury to the abdomen, but jurors deadlocked on all 7 charges. The judge says she'll set a new trial date, and the boyfriend charged alongside with Davis could face his own trial as early as November.
Wow. 7 charges, all deadlocked. I feel like you don't hear that every single time. Now I'm curious because I feel like I recognize this case as a woman who was like postpartum depression, attacked her kid. But that could be a different story. It just sounded familiar, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Utah manslaughter sentence in girlfriend's death.
Oh wow.
In Provo, Caleb Reese.
Provo, I'm scared.
Yeah, has been sentenced to up to 20 years behind bars after pleading guilty to manslaughter in the 2021 death of his 19-year-old girlfriend, BYU student Raina Najin. Investigators say Reese left a loaded gun near her during a heated argument, and the moment was captured on her phone's audio recording. Her mother told the court in her words that the abuse did not stop even in her daughter's final moments.
That's so sad. So the daughter was like recording things probably for protection and evidence, and it captured her own murder? Why did it take so long to go to trial?
This says this story, heads up, this story touches on suicide. If it's something you're personally navigating.
Oh, interesting. Maybe it was, because it sounds like he's the one that put a little gun, like pressuring her. Dang, that's sad.
I don't know if he pressured her. I don't know.
Or at least like left the...
This one's kind of interesting.
Wait, you said that was 2021?
Yeah.
I'll look up. That's too close to my house.
Nguyen. Hey, say that again.
Nguyen.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that one.
I know, me too. I can't think of it.
It's like you don't pronounce the N or the G or one of the letters.
I know.
Nigel or something. Dang it, that's like a common name too.
I know. That's super sad.
Someone tell us how to pronounce that. We're so sorry.
Indiana retired principal sentenced for hammer killing.
What the? That's creepy. Wait, the principal's charged?
Yeah.
Ew.
A disturbing one out of Indianapolis. 79-year-old Terry Ogilvy, a former middle school principal, has been sentenced to 15 years for beating his wife, Mary, to death with a hammer, believing she was having an affair. He called 911 himself and was found with self-inflicted wrist injuries. Wow. Neighbors say the couple used to be seen holding hands walking around the block.
Wow, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Is that not the one that was getting the suicide warning?
No, it wasn't.
Dang, that is horrible.
Maybe, I don't know.
Tatum Lloyd sent me a TikTok that was like, make your man mad before you get married and see their reaction. Like make sure guys are low reaction guys, because
Mom did that.
Yeah, mom knows how to piss people. Yeah, mom was never had a peaceful moment for dad when they were dating. But
it was like when they got married.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it sounded like it was pretty tough. Oh, that's right. You're right. It was when they were married. A little late, but yeah, you want to make sure you have a guy that can keep his cool in stressful situations. That's for sure. That's terrifying. Obviously, and don't cheat on your spouse, but you shouldn't be murdered regardless.
Yeah, but he said suspected.
Yeah, so we don't know, obviously.
Accused. Yeah. Texas, Athena Strand killer fights for new trial.
Athena, we just watched Odyssey last night.
Yeah. The man sentenced to death for kidnapping and killing 7-year-old Athena Strand.
Wow.
FedEx driver Tanner Horner is now asking for a new trial. His defense claims media coverage was so intense it scared off key witnesses. Prosecutors say there's no rule against media coverage, and the judge has since sealed the case exhibits.
Wow. He was sentenced to death? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That was the most unsettling video.
I didn't watch it, but I heard.
I mean, it's not like it shows a lot of details, just that she was in his UPS car or whatever at FedEx. Yeah. So sickening. There's freaks everywhere. Can't stay too alert.
Michigan, did I say death?
What do you mean? Yeah, he was sentenced to death. I thought so. Was he not?
I think he was, but I didn't think I said it in this thing.
Oh, I thought you did.
Oh, the man sentenced to death. Yeah, right in the beginning. Michigan, ew.
Boo.
Mom pleads no contest in child neglect case. In Oakland County, Kelly Bryant has pleaded no contest to 3 counts of first-degree child abuse after her 3 children, ages 12, 13, and 15, were found living alone in a home so filthy that investigators need hazmat suits to process it. She'll serve at least 6 weeks, and her parental rights have been already terminated. I think I've heard of this one. But I heard of a worse one somewhere else.
Yeah,
not a worse one, but like I've heard of a bad one too. Some recently.
I think you might have sent that to me. That sounds familiar.
Like they were like bringing they were buying like oil, like avocado oil or something for the person to eat, because
oh my gosh,
fats like last longer and like are cheap.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I saw something like that, and like the kid was like massively overweight because they were just like.
I didn't see that.
Oh, it was so sad. Or no, the one I saw, the kid died from obesity because, and they were like quarters and stuff because they were just like pumping him up. Jeez. So sad. It makes me so sick when there's children neglect. You're like, how can you just not care like that?
Yeah. Florida life sentence for birthday murder. And so in Orange County, Florida, Javier Rosado Martinez has been sentenced to life without parole for killing his girlfriend, 93-year-old.
What the?
Oh, his girlfriend's 93-year-old mother.
Oh.
So this is older people.
Wow.
His girlfriend's 93-year-old mother, Dolores Pandilla Moreno, on her birthday in 2022, after prosecutors say he intended to sexually assault her.
Oh my gosh.
He also serve 5 additional years for attempted sexual battery and run consecutively.
Holy smokes. Same thing with the old folks. Children, old people, vulnerable. Leave them alone. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Leave everyone alone. But, ew, that's disturbing.
Yeah.
I hate that. Your true crime news is always a little bit more depressing than my cases, I feel
I
like.
know.
It's like, dang, that's happening right now.
Yeah, it was rough.
I hate that. But that is all we have for this week. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode of Siblings in Crime.
Adios.